In this video, I'm going to share with you a story of what it was like to be 1 year older than everybody else in sixth form. And hopefully by the end of this video, if you're somebody who is planning to retake the year in year 12 or in year 13, that this video gives you peace. Yeah, this video gives you that stress relief, and that age is no longer a concern of yours, because once you get into university, I'm telling you, it's going to be uphill from here. So let's rewind a bit. For GCSEs, I got mostly A's and B's, and I didn't really work too much for those grades. I didn't take my GCSEs too seriously, and unfortunately I took that same approach to A-level, and I was never really able to get through that GCSE to A-level transition. Honest, I struggled so much during the 9 to 10 months. I struggled to learn my subjects. I struggled to revise. I struggled to be organized, and most importantly, I didn't have the motivation or the discipline to do really well. Because of that, I ended up being lazy. I ended up just procrastinating most of the time. So results day comes along after exams, and I walk in school. I open my envelope, and I remember opening it like this, yeah. And I knew I wasn't gonna do well. I knew that I didn't work hard, but from opening that envelope, yeah, and to see U's and E's slapping your face, it's a humbling experience. Like, even though I knew I wasn't gonna do well, for the grades to actually be there, and for the grade, and you know, you got those grades, that it's evidence that you did shite. And I was laughing to be honest, but I wasn't laughing because of joy. I was more laughing like what? No, what? Nah, what? Maybe it's upside down. Like, I tried to make myself feel better, but I still remember till this day, 10 to 15 minutes after I opened my results, I walked around the corner where nobody else was. Yeah, I sat down like on the bench, and I just thought about life. I deeped it, man. I deeped it. All my friends, most of them were celebrating because they got decent results, and they all knew that they were going to go to year 13. Whereas me, I had two options. My first option was I could theoretically continue to go to year 13, but I would have gone to year 13 with U's and E's, and I would have wanted to resit my exams. Then I would have had to learn A2 content, which is harder than year 12 content, on top of revising the content I already did the previous year. And that workload to me, I mean, if I wasn't able to do year 12, what makes me think I'm going to do year 13? That was my first option. My second option was to retake year 12. And that involved me having to sit in class with the lower years. Can you imagine that? Sitting in class with the people 1 year younger than you in sixth form. Obviously, during that time, it feels like you are an old man. It also involved me, just having to swallow my ego and just to know in the back of my mind that I'm retaking year 12 for the greater good, i.e. to get better grades. And for me, option 2 was the most appealing. Alright, so after a long summer holiday, it was the first day back into school. Now that I have that story of failing A-levels, and that word is going to spread around sixth form, etc, etc. I don't know, to me, I just felt like I was gonna it just felt so nerve-wracking and embarrassing going back to school, knowing that I failed already. Anyway, my first lesson was maths, and I remember the late bell ringing, and I saw my lesson right in front of me, yeah? I was walking to lessons, right, as the late bell rang, but then I walked past the door. I walked past the door, and I went around the corner with my hands in my head, literally like this. I still remember it to this day. I was like this. Oh my gosh, what am I doing? Oh my gosh, my class is there. Aldrich, just walk in. Don't worry. F what other people think about you. You're there for you. At the end of the day, at break time, just go back to your friends, and it'll all just be chill. But just imagine me around the corner of my lesson, just trying to muster up the courage to walk in the lesson, find a spare seat and just sit down and do the lesson. And I barely knew people from the year below, so it just made this so, like, I don't know, what's the word, like, it was outside my comfort zone, to say the least. And it took me like a good 5 minutes, so I was like 10 to 15 minutes late to my lesson. So eventually I stopped being a wuss and I walked into lesson. I open the door and then the class goes silent, right? And I say, "Oh, sorry sir, my form tutor asked me for a favor, sorry I'm late, it won't happen again." And I remember once I said that to the teacher, I scanned the classroom for an empty seat, and I tunneled visioned to the empty seat. I tried to just look at the seat and like blur out everybody in the classroom. But as I was walking to my seat, I can hear people from the back of my, I've got a sixth sense, that, who's that guy? Oh, isn't he in the year? He's in the year above. What's he doing here? Oh my gosh! And people So anyway, I ended up sitting down on a group table where I found a spare seat, and luckily I knew one person on that table, and I sat down on that table, and then my friend asked me, he goes, "Yo, Aldrich, what are you doing in this lesson? Aren't you supposed to be in year 13? Why are you sitting with us?" And I responded something along the lines of, "Oh yeah, mate, long story short, I sort of effed up last year and flopped my AS levels. I got really crappy grades, and I thought rather than going into year 13 that I should reset year 12 and pretty much bring those grades up again. And yeah, just put me in a better chance to go into one of my aspirational unis, which ended up becoming Sheffield University." Alright, big up Sheffield, come on, big up. But anyway, I was in lessons, and then I was like, oh, okay. And then, we moved on. I started, taking my notes and stuff. But yeah, I've never felt so ashamed of my life, basically. Walking into lessons, it felt so humiliating, but at the same time, as I did this throughout the whole year, it was one of the most humbling experiences that I've ever had in my life. So eventually I ended up doing my exams again, and I ended up getting like ABB. So going from U's and E's to the last year to ABB, I was proper gassed, and that leads me on to year 13. So now I'm officially in year 13, and at this point my original cohort went off to university, so I was technically in year 14. I was officially one of the oldest people in the sixth form. I was the granddad. I was the granddad. And yeah, there's one thing I want to point out during this year regarding age. Since I did pretty well, since I did sick for AS levels, going from U's and E's to A's and B's, that my story spread around sixth form. And this is when a lot of people from the new year 12 and the year that I was currently with started asking me questions. What made you motivated? Like what made you do well? Why did you repeat the year? Why didn't you just continue the year? Oh, what universities are you applying for? Oh, I had so many sort of questions and assumptions about me and my person, my character or whatever, and it was because I was having all these conversations, asking people's questions, that it really motivated me to work even harder, to show that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. I think I'm a living example of that. I have no academic talent, or actually no, I have limited academic talent. As you can tell, I failed my A-levels. There's no way I have talent in my academics. However, what I do have is hard work. And that was the message I was trying to spread to everybody who asked me questions relating to productivity, motivation, etc., how to do well. I kept trying to, it always revolved around the theme of working hard. There's no substitute for hard work, and I tried to communicate that to different types of people. And Yeah, honestly, hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard enough. Like, it really is just that. And I've met so many people in university that did the same thing as me, retake a year in sixth form, and they all said the same thing. Hard work is what got them their A's, it's what got them their A stars, it's what got them to the University of Sheffield and other Russell Group unis as well. And that's something I wanted to preach to the people who were asking me questions during sixth form. There are 6 life lessons that I've learned during this experience about failure and about hard work. The first one is ignore the haters. Remember when I repeated year 12, right? And I did the mock exams, right? And I ended up doing the best in my maths class, like by far. I got a B or something while everyone else got D's and E's. And I was pretty proud of myself. Like, for me to get a B in January of year 12, knowing full well I was in progress for an A, like, I was proper gassed. And imagine, yeah, as I keep saying, I went from a U, so getting a B was like, I was proper gassed. Unfortunately, I remember getting my results, right? And people ask me, oh, Aldrich, what did you get? And I'll tell them my grades, and they'll be like, it's because you've done this before. It's because you've seen the paper before. It's because, you know, you've already had 1 year, like, that's why you did well. Like, unfortunately, you will get some of these backhanded sort of compliments from people. And even in year 13, when I've never done A2 before, right? When I did my core 3 and my core 4, when I did well for those papers, they said the same thing. Oh, Aldrich, you've done C3 before, you've done C4. How do you... just laugh it off in your own head. Just be like, when I remember when they said it, I was like, you know what? That's my advantage. And I was trying to laugh it off with them to show that it didn't affect me, but low-key it did. Just ignore it and think about your original goal, and that was to just do well, to be tunnel vision in your goal, and to get into the university of your dreams. The second lesson is that failure is an experience, not an end. If you are retaking your A levels, right, and you're going back into year 12 or year 13 or whatever, the biggest advantage that you have between you and everybody else in the sixth form is that you have experience. I'm not talking about experience that, you've seen the content before. I'm talking about experience in the sense of you've tasted the bitter flavor of failing. No one else in the lower years or whatever has had that first-hand knowledge or first-hand experience of failing like you did. For me, it made me reflect on what type of person I am. It made me ask myself, who am I? Why am I doing this? It pretty much made me reflect like on what's important to my life. Why is it important in my life? And honestly, I used failure as an experience to make me a better character in the future, and you should as well. Till this day, 3 to 4 years later, whatever, I am now graduating from university, and I still use that failure in year 12 as motivation to work hard every single day. Not even for my friendships, for my family, for my university work, for YouTube, for anything that requires hard work. I always think back about the time where I felt useless, the time where I felt like the world was against me. This experience of failure is what defined my strong work ethic, and if you have failed like me, alright, don't take it too hard on yourself, yeah? Use it as fuel. Unlimited fuel for you to do well in the future. You can do it, alright, you can do it. Use failure as an experience. It is not an end. 3, failure humbles you to grow. Failure changes the way you think, and I'm sure it has. It made you really rethink about what is important to you, right? As I mentioned in the previous point, I generally felt it deep in my heart that I disappointed myself. I've disappointed my family, and I've disappointed just my friends as well, and I took it insanely personal, and I was at this sort of dip in my life. You know, you're doing well in A level, you're doing well in your GCSEs, you're not putting much to effort, life is good, and then you fail You fail A2 and now you're here, you're at rock bottom. That's how I saw it. Once you're at this rock bottom, right, it is your responsibility to go back up. Don't start blaming other people, the environment that you're in. You gotta really ask yourself, okay, how do I rebuild my confidence? How do I stay motivated? How do I stay disciplined? How do I ignore what other people think of me? And how do I just become a better person overall? And when you answer those questions, and when you do your research, and when you do a lot more self-reflection, you're going to get back up to square one. You're going to be successful, and recovering from that tip is going to take hard work. But yeah, understand that failure is needed for you to grow as a person, and it is needed for you to be successful. Once you reach success, you will look back at your failures and be like, yo, I'm pretty glad that I failed, because if I didn't fail, then I wouldn't have been this successful. For me, that was getting to Sheffield University, and I feel pretty gassed about that. Fourth lesson is that everyone walks their own path in life. This links to what I said in the previous video about feeling left behind, because at this point you probably are feeling left behind because you've seen other people in your original year go to university without you, and you're still stuck with the lower years. But at this point, I want you to tell yourself that, yo, this is fine. This is chill. This is all good. You know why? Because you are walking your own path in life. Success will find you if you're willing to look for success, if you're willing to put in the hard work, all right? And the only person that you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. Are you better than the person you were yesterday? Are you better than the person that you were in sixth form, or the time that you failed A-levels? Rather than compare yourself to other people, admire other people. When you see someone successful in your friendship group, gas them up, you know, give it to them, celebrate with them, right? And if they failed, right, then pick them back up. Listen to them. Hey, what's up? What's wrong? You good? Is life so short for you to be feeling down, to be feeling sad? Be happy, man. Be happy. Don't compare yourself to others. Be aware that everyone is walking their own path in life. The fifth lesson that I've learned is that when you eventually do get into university, you will meet people who are in the same situation as you are. I can't stress this enough. There are so many people who have taken gap years, who has retaken the year like me. Yeah, there are people like that in university. There are loads of people like that. I trust me. Even I to this day I'm like shook. And there's people who took a year out to do something else, but it is so interesting, and you will find those people across any degree, like medicine, nursing, engineering, history, law, economics. I know so many people who have retaken the year and who have taken gap years, and honestly, those are the people that I connect with the quickest, and those are the people that I have like close friendships with, because they've understood failure. They understood what it's like to be at the rock bottom and to work hard to get your grades up, to go into a more prestigious university, to go into a more aspirational university, and to accelerate their career and their dreams just that much faster. So if you're one of those people who is concerned about not finding anybody who's doing a gap year or whatever, don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Even when you do go into university and you're starting making friends, no one cares about your age, because at that point everyone is 18. Everyone is of age, okay? Everyone is an adult. It's no longer about how old you are. It's more about who are you as a person. Are you a waste man? Yeah. Are you funny? Are you jokes? Are you confident? Are you a positive person? Are you somebody that people want to be surrounding with? Are you somebody who can think for themselves? Are you somebody who has personal hobbies? Are you somebody that can think for themselves? Like, age is no longer a variable when it comes to knowing if somebody is a good person or whatever. Like, age it's just a number at university. I've made friends with people who are 18 years old, 20 years old, 27 years old. Like, you will meet these people in university, and it's more about what you bring to the table. Just that life. Yeah, bring that life into people. Don't talk about like, and I don't want to say don't talk about, but people will only know if you've taken the year or taken gap years if you've mentioned it in conversation. So don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Now I just want to end this video saying this. Failing sixth form sort of revolutionized my life. As cringy as that sounds, I know. But looking back at it now, the 4 years since I've had that experience, pretty much, I'm glad that I failed. I'm glad that I did, because I wouldn't have become the person I am today. I wouldn't have made the friends that I have made today. I just wouldn't have had the vision, the opportunities that I've had today. I wouldn't have started this YouTube channel. I wouldn't have done many things, and overall I am very happy with who I've become over the past 4 years. And as I said, the only person you should be comparing yourself to is the person you were yesterday. And to use other people, right, when you look at other people's success, you admire that success, and you think to yourself, I'm gonna get there, I'm gonna get that 1 point. Hey, don't worry man, I'm gonna catch up, yeah? But my time's not now, but it will be in the future. If you're genuinely going to retake the year, that this video gives you peace. Yeah, this video gives you that stress relief, and that age is no longer a concern of yours, because once you get into university, I'm telling you, it's going to be uphill from here. Everybody I know who has retaken the year in sixth form, that went into university, they are the most happiest people I know. They are the most joyful, most jokes. The banter is just, it's just jokes. Just work hard now, work hard now. Work hard now, and your future self will thank you for it, and you'll be able to share your message of failing A-levels, and you'll be able to inspire other people as well.